What's up, everybody? Matt Kajeski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today we will be continuing our college football preview series talking about the Alabama Crimson Tide. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. We are also brought to you by BetMGM, and they have a fantastic offer for you all. You can get up to $1,000 in a risk-free bet with your first deposit at BetMGM when you click the link in the video description below or use the promo code OSCFB is on your screen in front of you. Make sure to check out that phenomenal offer ahead of college football season. And speaking of bets, we're going to be talking all things Crimson Tide. I personally believe the hardest team to bet postseason because of where their odds are, but we'll dive into their roster, their schedule, and then get to their win total and postseason odds. I think we have to start here with the quarterback position, which is largely the reason why I think they're the preseason favorite to win the national championship. They return Bryce Young, top 3 signal caller by all metrics, top 3 graded in PFF. He's the Heisman winner. Adjusting completion percentage over 78%, yards per attempt over 8.5. And he was one of the best quarterbacks under pressure. He had over 1,000 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions when pressured. Unbelievably impressive performance from Bryce Young last year. He's mobile, not unlike a Lamar Jackson sense, but he was recruited as a dual threat and certainly can scramble around the pocket, which aids in his evasiveness of that pressure. At running back, they add Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the premier transfers in the portal, comes out of Georgia Tech. Really solid in terms of forced missed tackles per attempt, yards after contact above average in each. He didn't have some of the same counting stats as some of the Alabama backs, but again, he was playing for a Georgia Tech offense that didn't necessarily highlight his skills. But what we do know is he's an awesome pass catcher. He caught 59 balls for 768 yards over the last 2 seasons. 5'11", 200 pounds, so maybe he leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of size, but we know behind him they have some veterans, Trey Sanders, Roydell Williams, Jason McClellan. They'll have some 4 and 5 stars coming in the position too. It should be a pretty good running back room. Their offensive line does replace their 2 tackles, Evan Neal and Chris Owens, but they return all 3 of their interior starters. They added a premier transfer from Vanderbilt in Tyler Steen. He didn't get there till the summer, but reports from him have been pretty good, so I think he should slide right in. JC Latham, I think, is going to be their last starter at tackle. He's a very high recruit, and even if he doesn't pan out, you've got a lot of really good recruits down the line that could end up playing for this team in a pinch. Receiver's a big question. A lot of big shoes to fill here with John Mechie, Jamison Williams, and Slade Bolden all departing. They hit the transfer portal to try to at least ease those losses. Jermaine Burton comes over from Georgia. He had 2.4 yards per out run. That's above average and solid. Just with Georgia, they rotated so much. He never really participated in more than 50% of the routes. He should get a chance to do so here. They have Tyler Harrell coming in from Louisville. This guy's a complete burner, 2.85 yards per route run. Allegedly runs in the 4.3s for the 40-yard dash. So if you're looking for a replacement for Jamison Williams, he kind of fits that skill set. We'll see if he can take that step forward to actually produce. Unfortunately, they did lose JoJo Earl to a Lisfranc fracture. It looks like he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, if not longer. We know those are kind of difficult injuries. And that's going to elevate Trayshawn Holden and Ja'Cory Brooks. Those 2 players have been working with the first team in camp. Neither of them have gotten a lot of playing time to this point, but again, they've been playing behind some veterans that are now NFL caliber athletes. So it'll be fun to see them finally get on the field. Receiver will be a question, but I think they have the pieces in-house to at least be serviceable to above average. Their defense is going to be solid, and we have to start the discussion with Will Anderson. I think there's a strong argument Will Anderson should have won the Heisman last year. He's first-team All-American off the edge, generates an absurd amount of pressure. They're returning starters at every single position on the defensive line. So even if they decide to double Will Anderson, that's going to open up opportunities for other edge rushers. And having such a solid pass rush eases some of the maybe deficiencies in the secondary. And I don't even want to call them deficiencies. We'll call them questions. Alabama does have questions in the secondary. They added transfer Eli Ricks. He's drawn some criticism from Saban in the preseason, but he produced at LSU. I think as soon as he can grasp the scheme and play within the scheme, he should be a quality starter. Kool-Aid McKistry, he's a player now going into another year. He got some experience last year, started 6 games. You hope he takes a step forward. He's a really high-profile recruit. Malachi Moore started 9 games. And then you have Jordan Battle, who was a 4th-team All-American by some outlets. So he's at least a very quality starter back there. I like that they're getting experienced players. Again, there are questions, but I think having a strong edge is going to at least ease some of those concerns. And then linebacker, won't spend too much time here. They do have some quality starters. Henry Toto, which is a solid player there. But overall, we need to look at the schedule with this team. They do play some tough games. In non-con, they draw Texas. That's not an easy game. They'll certainly be double-digit favorites in that game, but Texas could give them a scare. Then the rest of their non-con, fairly easy. Utah State, Louisiana Monroe, Austin Peay, all should be wins with spreads north of 30. Within the conference, we know this is where things can get difficult. They play the usual suspects in the SEC West. Arkansas is away. That's a tough game. LSU is away. Ole Miss is away. In the crossover, they luckily get Vanderbilt, and then they have to go to Tennessee. Not the most difficult environment, but definitely not one they should be looking over either. It's a tough schedule by all accounts for Alabama. So when you move this forward and you look at some of their odds in the postseason, I personally think they're extremely hard to bet because everything is priced as if they're going to win it all. Their win total 10.5. It's minus 300. If you bet this earlier in the offseason, you could have got minus 200, but people are hammering Alabama. Again, they'll be favored in every single game, but there's a lot of downside here. Even if a player gets hurt, say Bryce Young gets hurt, we never wish for injuries, but that completely changes the complexion of Alabama. If they drop a game or two in that rigorous SEC West schedule, it could even happen just because of injury. So at minus 300, I think over 10.5 is the play, but I'm just not willing to lay it at that juice. Then you look at their postseason odds. They're minus 145 to win the SEC. Again, the SEC West is super, super difficult. Even last year, they lost to Texas A&M in a fluke game. They still managed to win the SEC, but something like that could happen. And again, injury could be the reason. To win the national championship, they're plus 175. Just not odds I'm actually willing to take with Alabama. So instead of betting them in any sort of postseason odds, their win total, I'm just going to be taking this team in season against the spread rather than lay some pretty gnarly juice on most of their postseason odds here. Even Bryce Young, if you want to look at Heisman favorites, he's not a worthwhile bet either, where you have to lay the juice to get him. So to me, Alabama, love the team. I think they're going over 10.5 wins. My personal favorite to win the national championship, but with the current odds, not one I'm willing to bet. Let me know what you think about Alabama. If you're willing to take their win total, their postseason odds, I'd love to hear it. And then let me know what you think about their roster, who could maybe step up at receiver. I'll make sure to get back to you guys in the comment section. My name is Matt Kajeski on Twitter at Matt_Kajeski. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again